Hey guys, it's Bethany with ABCuteCreations here with another crochet tutorial for you. Today I'm going to show you how to make these sweetheart fingerless gloves to match your sweetheart hat. Because of the stitches and techniques used, it will be the warmest fingerless gloves that you will own. Here are the supplies that you'll need to follow along with me. Yarn. For today's tutorial, I am using a gray and a pink yarn that I found at Walmart. It is the Mainstays brand, and it has these little flecks of glitter in them. Scissors or yarn snips, a stitch marker, a yarn needle for weaving in your ends, and the cute tag is optional. Let's get started. To begin, you want to create your slip stitch. We're then going to create our cuff. Now I'm going to make a shorter one, but if you want it to be longer, you can chain on 21. For this length cuff, you will chain on 11. Working in the back bumps only, you are going to slip stitch all the way across, starting in the second chain from your hook. So once this is done, you should have 10 stitches, and you're going to do this loosely. You definitely do not want to do this too tight, as it will cause issues as you're coming back. Chain 1, turn your work. Now the rest of the pattern is going to repeat with this row. So you are going to slip stitch into the back loop only, all the way across, chain 1, turn your work, and repeat. So you will have 10 stitches that you are slip stitching into every single row all the way across, and that will give you a nice stretchy cuff. So go ahead and work up with it, or work it up until it is long enough to fit back around your wrist, and I will meet back with you at the end. Okay, so I've worked up my cuff. I've gotten 21 rib rows, or 42 rows total. So you want to make sure that you finish with your tail on this side, so that when you work back, you'll be able to stitch over it. So if you're using a thinner yarn, I feel like this was a little bit thicker as I was working with it, because even though, you know, you're using a worsted weight yarn, you can have varying thickness for it. So for example, some baby yarns say that they're worsted weight, but you can tell that they're finer to work with. So you may need to work up more rows. Just make sure that once you put it together, you can fit your wrist through. Please also keep in mind that you will need to make up 2 of these cuffs. So you'll need one for the right hand glove and one for the left hand glove. Now we're going to stitch these together. So after you've chained 1 and you have turned your work, we're going to work back and we're going to slip stitch the cuff together. So what I like to do is I like to insert my hook into this front loop. So here's the back loop, here's the front loop. I'm going to insert it into that front loop, and we are going to slip stitch to the back loop. So here's that front loop, there's the back loop, and we're going to slip stitch like that all the way across. So you are going to work from the front loop into the back loop. and you're just going to continue all the way across for all 10 of those stitches. So you can either leave your cuff like this and have this be the outside. I like the way that this looks better. It kind of pushes it in and hides it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just simply going to flip this inside out like that, and now you have a more hidden seam. It's completely personal preference, but that is just what I like to do. So now we're going to stitch over this tail, and we're going to have to pick up stitches around the top of the cuff. So we know that we'll get 21 stitches if we work into every single rib. We need to get a total of 34 stitches, and I'm going to count my first chain 2 as my initial stitch. So then we need to pick up 33 more stitches. If we have the 21 accounted for, we need to also put in 12 more stitches between the ribs. So we won't work into every single rib, but almost half of them. So we're going to start by chaining 2. And again, this will count as my first chain. Now we're going to do 33 double crochets. And I'm just going to work right over that end so I don't have to weave it in at the very end. All right, so I've got the 8 stitches. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, if you count that first double crochet. So go ahead and continue on, and I'll meet back with you after there are 34 total stitches or 33 double crochets plus your chain 2 at the beginning. Okay, I now have my 34 stitches if you count that double crochet. Now, normally in my patterns, I would slip stitch to that first stitch, but I don't like the look of a seam. So we're going to continue to work in the round, and we're going to use our stitch marker to hold our place. So what we have to do is we have to enter this first chain 2 as if we were going to do a back post double crochet. So what we want to do is we are going to enter this stitch. We don't have anything to go around it with, so we're just going to enter like this. We're going to pull up a loop, and we are going to do a back post double crochet. Okay, so there's our first stitch. Now what we need to do is just continue on and do a back post double crochet all the way around our work. And we're going to do this for the 1 through 3 rows. So we're going to do 3 rows in a row where we just do all back post double crochets. So the next couple rows will get easier because we won't have this first stitch to worry about. So I'm going to put my stitch marker right there, and I will meet back with you after I have 3 rows. So this is our first row of back post double crochets. We will do 2 more after this, exactly the same back post double crochets all the way around. I will meet back with you once I have those completed. Okay, so I have made it back around. I have done my 3 rows of just back post double crochets, You definitely want to keep that stitch marker in from this point on. Now for our right hand glove, this is going to be our pattern. We are going to do 18 back post double crochets, but we are going to switch to our heart color halfway through, or for the last yarn over of our 18th stitch. So there's 1, 2, 3, and I will speed up the video so that you can see me get to the 18th stitch. Okay, I had to back up the video a little bit because I had gone too far. Now I have 17 stitches. Here is how we do the 18th stitch. We're going to enter just like we would for a back post double crochet. We're going to pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. Before we do our final yarn over, we're going to switch over to our second color. And I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail that I'll be able to weave in. But we're just going to drop that tail down into the center, and we will mess with that later. Now we're going to carry our yarn throughout our work. So we're just working with our heart color right now. What we want to do is on the 19th stitch, we want to do a front post double crochet, followed by a chain 1, and then do another front post double crochet around that same stitch. Instead of finishing it off though, we are going to switch back to our main color for that final yarn over and pull through. So now I'm going to show you how to carry the yarn through so that you can carry it through your work and it doesn't show. So now we're going to do 15 back post double crochets, and we're just going to use our main color for that. So that will take us to the end of the round. We're going to just do 15 back post double crochets, and when working, you're going to go between your heart color yarn, and then you're going to enter the back of that stitch, and then you're going to go through the front, and you're going to lock that stitch in. So you're going to yarn over with your main color, pull it through, yarn over with your main color, and this is where it locks in that stitch. We just crocheted over it, locked it in, yarn over, and pull through 2. So we're going to do this the whole way around until the end of the round. You're just going to keep working in between that yarn and then over that yarn. So we're going to yarn over, we're going to go between that yarn and our main color, and then we're going to pull up our loop and lock in that color. Now you'll notice that we'll do a lot of tightening and stretching throughout our work, and that just keeps it so that it doesn't get too tight and it doesn't get too loose. So we'll continue on, and I will meet you back at the end of the round. Okay, we finished that round. Now we're up to our first stitch again. For row number 5, we are going to start with doing 2 back post double crochets into the same stitch. Now this is where it can get a little complicated with this extra yarn. We're not going to lock it in for these 2 stitches. So we're going to just set that in back, and we're going to do 1 back post double crochet, And then we're going to do a second back post double crochet around that same stitch. This will start to give us that increase right around our thumb. So to pull that up, I don't know if you saw that. Let me redo that. Okay, to do the second one around that same stitch, you're going to yarn over. You're going to enter back here, same as before, yarn over, and then you're going to pull it through. Sometimes that likes to catch on different parts of the stitch, so be careful. Yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, finish pulling through. Now we're going to continue to work over this. So for the next step, we're going to do 15 back post double crochets. And again, I will speed it up for the 15 back post double crochets. Next, I like to tighten and loosen just to see where we're at. Okay, next we're going to do a back post double crochet decrease. So we're going to insert our hook, pull up our loop, yarn through 2, yarn over, and then we're going to go into the next stitch, pull up that loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Instead of finishing that, for our final yarn over and pull through, we will use our heart color. So we're going to switch to that. Tighten things down. That's why I wanted to make sure we had it tightened and then loosened so that we keep that stretch. Okay, next up, we want to do a front post double crochet. Followed by a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, all in this chain space. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in that same chain space. Next, we're going to do a front post double crochet, switching over to our main color for that final yarn over. Yarn over and pull through. Next, we're just going to finish that round. We're actually going to do a back post double crochet decrease. And with our decreases, we can lock in that yarn. We just can't with our increases. Once we do that back post double crochet, it would show the yarn, and that's why we can't. All right, so we have our decrease. Next, we're going to do 12 back post double crochets, and we're going to end the round with 2 back post double crochets in this final stitch of the round. So I'm going to go ahead and get those 12 back post double crochets in, and then we'll complete that increase for the last stitch. Okay, now that we've completed those 12, again, just continuously checking that stretch. We are going to do 2 back post double crochets in that final stitch. We're not going to lock in our pink yarn or your heart colored yarn. We're just going to pull up that loop, yarn over, finish that back post double crochet, go right back into that same stitch. So you kind of have to work your hook around, pull up that loop, and then complete that stitch. So now we have that, the increase for where the thumb hole is going to go. Okay, so now we're up to round 6. All right, so we're going to start off with 18 back post double crochets, now continuing to lock in that stitch. Now you have to be careful because we increased here, so you want to make sure to only work into that very first stitch. So we're going to do our 18 back post double crochets. and then you're going to be switching over on that 18th stitch. You're going to start the 18th stitch, and on for your final yarn over, you're going to be switching to your heart color. So I'm going to go ahead and work those up, and I will meet back with you at the start of the heart. Okay, so we are now back to our last stitch right before our heart. So you're going to start that back post double crochet, and you're going to switch over to your heart color for the last yarn over. Pull it through. Now we're going to do 2 front post double crochets. And then we're going to do another double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into our chain space. And then we're going to do 2 more front post double crochets, switching back to our main color for that final yarn over of the second front post double crochet. We're going to finish our round with 15 back post double crochets. So again, when working around a decrease stitch, just make sure you work around the whole thing. So go ahead and finish that round with 15 back post double crochets, and I will meet up with you at the beginning of the next round. Okay, I've finished up that row. I had my 12 back post double crochets, and I've got my 2 back post double crochets in my final stitch. So now we are going to work on 18 back post double crochets. Again, you want to make sure that you get both of those stitches to start. So go ahead and complete 18 back post double crochets, which will bring us up to the heart. And remember, you are going to switch over to your heart color with the final yarn over of that 18th back post double crochet. Okay, I'm on to my 18th stitch, so I'm going to, you can see where that last decrease was on that last row. So we're just going to work around the entire stitch, and then I have 1 yarn over left, so I'm going to switch over to the heart color. Now, this is where we're going to expand a little bit differently for our heart. So what we want to do is we want to do 2 front post double crochets into this first heart stitch. Next, we're going to do 3 front post double crochets. Followed by 3 double crochets in this chain space. Next, we're going to do our 3 front post double crochets. Followed by 2 front post double crochets in this last heart stitch. And again, you're going to switch over to your main color with the last yarn over. Now on this one, I didn't lock in my stitch except at the middle, but you can see how the wider it gets, your yarn is getting looser and could end up in the way. So we just have to be aware of that once we start our decreases. Next up, for the remainder of this round, we're just going to do our 15 back post double crochets. So go ahead and finish with all back post double crochets for the remainder of the round, and I will meet back with you at the start of the next round. Coming up to our next round, we're going to put 2 back post double crochets into the first stitch. Followed by 17 back post double crochets, and you're going to switch over to the color of your heart for that final yarn over of the 17th stitch. Okay, I'm coming up to my heart, so I'm going to start my back post double crochet, and I'm going to finish by yarning over with the heart color. This is where we're going to just do 13 front post double crochets, and you're going to be switching over to your main color with the last yarn over. But because it's such a wide gap, you really don't want to just leave this yarn loose. So I'm going to show you how to kind of lock in that yarn as you work across, so that when you put your hand into your glove, you're not running into a loose thread in there, or like a loop that you could get stuck on. So remember, we increased on this one the last round, so you want to make sure to work those separately. Okay, so now that I'm coming to my 7th stitch, the middle stitch of the heart, this is what I want to do. I'm going to lock in this yarn, and I do this by simply crossing it over. I don't move the yarn itself. I just take the strand, pass it over to the front, and then I pick up that pink yarn. I'm going to hold that kind of to the back now. So what I like to do is I yarn over now, and I go into the hook, and I just do a regular front post double crochet. Now I drop the yarn, and I go back here to pick it up, and it crosses the gray back over again. But what that does is it locks it in, so it holds it close to the back of the heart, and then it's not just loose out here. So I'm going to go ahead and just do the next stitch, and now it's as if I never switched the order of the yarn, and it'll just hide back there. You won't even know that happened. So now everything's in the right order. I didn't have to move the physical yarn, and I can continue on. So that's what we're going to end up doing for the next 2 rows. So I'm going to again go across to finish out the heart and finish those 13 front post double crochets. And here is the 13th front post double crochet, so I'm going to start it with pink, and I'm going to finish it with my main color. Next up, we're going to do 14 back post double crochets, and we're going to end the round with 2 back post double crochets in our final stitch. So go ahead and finish up the last 14 back post double crochets, and then your 2 back post double crochets in your final stitch, and I will meet back with you at the beginning of the next round. Okay, so I came up to the final stitch of the round, so I'm going to do my 2 back post double crochets into the final stitch. Okay, for this next round, it's actually going to be quite simple. We're going to do 19 back post double crochets, switching over to your heart color for the 19th stitch. So go ahead and complete those 19 back post double crochets, and I will meet back with you for the heart. Okay, so I'm back up to the heart. So we're going to switch over to our heart color. Now again, we're going to do 13 front post double crochets. And again, if you would like, you can lock in that stitch. I'm not going to go over it as thoroughly as I did last time, but you will notice that I will cross the yarn just to lock in my main color as I work across this heart. So go ahead and do your 13 front post double crochets and then switch over to your main color at the end of the 13th front post double crochet. Okay, for this final front post double crochet of our heart, I'm going to switch back to my main color for the final yarn over. Next, we're going to finish with 16 back post double crochets. So go ahead and finish up those 16 back post double crochets, and I will meet up with you at the end of the round. Okay, for this round, we're going to continue to increase by our thumb, and we are going to start to decrease our heart. So go ahead and put 2 back post double crochets into your first stitch. Next, you're going to do 18 back post double crochets, switching over to your heart color for the last yarn over of the 18th back post double crochet. Okay, so I'm to my heart stitch again. So I'm going to switch over to the heart color. Now this is where we're going to do some decreasing for our heart. So what we want to do is a front post double crochet decrease over the first 2 stitches of the heart, followed by 2 front post double crochets, and then a front post double crochet decrease, and we're actually going to switch over to our main color yarn for the final yarn over of this stitch. So we're picking up that gray. Next, what we want to do is we are going to do a back post double crochet. So we're going to yarn over with our main color. We're going to enter through the back post, but instead of picking up our main color, we're actually going to pick up our heart color for this. This gets a little tricky, but it's because it's going to wrap around and we're going to see that. Next, we're going to yarn over with our main color, and then we're going to pull through 2, and this is where it gets tough because this one, it doesn't want to pull through this stitch very well. So we're going to yarn through that one, and now you can tighten down that pink. And then for our final yarn over, then we are going to pick up our heart color, yarn over, and then pull through the 2 remaining hooks or loops on the hook. So what we just did, and the gray that's showing right now is from the previous round, but we wrapped around this loop with pink. Otherwise it would have really shown with gray. So we just wanted to make sure that we had that correct, and I'll show you again in the next round when we have to do it. So now we're going to go ahead and do a front post double crochet decrease, followed by 2 front post double crochets, and then a front post double crochet decrease, ending the last yarn over with your main color. Oops. So you can see how the top of the heart is now forming. Okay, for the rest of this round, we're going to do 15 back post double crochets, and then we are going to do our 2 back post double crochets in the final stitch. So go ahead and finish that up, and I will meet back with you at the end of the round. For the next round, we are going to do 20 back post double crochets, and we are going to be switching over to our heart color for the final yarn over of our 20th back post double crochet. So go ahead and get your 20 back post double crochets in, and I will meet back with you just at the start of the heart. Okay, I'm back to the 20th stitch. So we're going to switch over to our heart color for that final yarn over. Next, we are going to do 2 front post double crochet decreases, switching to your main color for the last yarn over of the second front post double crochet decrease. So there's our first one and our second one. So switch over to your main color. Next, we are going to do a back post double crochet, and I'm not going to lock in my yarn because we're going to do a back post double crochet, yarn one or chain 1, and then do another back post double crochet around that same stitch. And then you're going to switch over for the final yarn over of that second back post double crochet. You're going to switch over to your pink yarn. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 front post double crochets, and then we're going to, 2 front post double crochet decreases, switching to your main color for the last yarn over of the second front post double crochet decrease. Okay. Now to finish out this row, we're going to do 7 back post double crochets, and we're actually going to skip the last 10 stitches of the round. So I'm going to stay on camera for this final section of the round. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have my 7 back post double crochets. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we have these 10 stitches here that we want to skip. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going to work right into that first stitch. Now what I want to do is I again want to lock in my yarn that I'm carrying, because of the gap that we're creating, it would not be good to just let it carry across and hang. So we're going to wrap it. We're going to yarn over. I'm going to come all the way over to this first stitch. I'm going to insert my hook, and I'm not going to wrap it again here. So just, I'm going to go and pull up my loop. I'm going to yarn over and pull through one. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to fix my yarn again, because that will lock in that yarn, and then we will crochet over that as we come back around. So here's what I just did with it. You can see it now, but on the next round when we come back around, you will not be able to see it, because we're going to do a back post double crochet around this. So that will hide this section, and then we're going to do a couple of double crochets in here. But you've just created the thumb hole. So I'm going to take out my stitch marker, and we've just done the first stitch of our next round. So what we want to do from here, now we're done with our thumb section, unless you're going to be making the mitten. But for now, we're done with the thumb section. So if you're doing the fingerless gloves, you won't be doing any more with the thumb section other than working around for your fingers. Okay, so we have our first stitch in. Now what we want to do is we want to do a second back post double crochet into this first stitch. Again, we're not going to lock in that stitch or lock in that yarn. So we have 2 in that first one. And now we're going to do 19 back post double crochets, and we are not going to switch to the heart color at the end of the 19th stitch. So I will meet back with you after you've done 19 back post double crochets right up before the heart. Okay, so I finished up my 19th back post double crochet, and I did not switch over to my heart color. We still have to keep this attached because we need it for this section of the heart and this section of the heart. But then the next time we come around, we can cut it off and then just drop it in the middle to weave in our ends. But for now, this is what we're going to do. We are going to do a back post double crochet decrease, but we're going to have to use this yarn for part of it. So we're going to start our back post double crochet decrease, and then again, because we're going to be pulling this yarn down in front of the heart, we want to make sure we're using our heart color to do that. And so this gets tricky, but we're going to pull it through and in front. See, if this were the gray yarn, it wouldn't match and it would stand out very clearly. So we're going to yarn over with our main color and pull through 2 loops on our hook. Next, we're going to tighten down that pink. We want to make sure that we do that right away and tighten it. Then we're going to yarn over with our main color, insert into that post as a back post double crochet because we're still working on that decrease. And again, we're going to pull up that pink yarn because that's what's going in front of that heart. This is what's going to give you that flawless color change. Now you're going to yarn over with your main color, pull it through 2 loops on your hook, pull down that pink, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. That is what is ultimately going to give you the best looking heart and transition. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to do a back post double crochet. And now we can lock in that thread, that color. Then we're going to do a double crochet in the chain space, followed by a back post double crochet. Again, we're not going to switch back to the heart color, so we're just going to complete that stitch. Next, we're going to do the exact same thing that we did at the start of the heart. So you want to yarn over, we're going to do a back post double crochet decrease over these 2 stitches. So we're going to begin our back post double crochet. We're going to pull up with our heart color, yarn over with your main color, pull through 2 loops, tighten down your heart, yarn over with your main color, do another back post double crochet, then we're going to pick up our heart color, pull up that loop, yarn over with your main color, pull through 2 loops, tighten down your heart color, yarn over with your main color, and pull through all 3 remaining loops on your hook. And that is how you get that seamless heart. Next, we want to do 7 back post double crochets, and then we are going to finish the round with 2 double crochets in the thumb hole that we created. So go ahead and complete those 7 back post double crochets, and I'll show you how we do the thumb hole.
I'm almost done.
Okay, I'm gonna have to talk again here. Okay, so now we're doing the final stitch right before our 2 double crochets. But I wanted to show you, once we work our back post double crochet for this, then it's going to kind of hide and pull on that pink yarn, so that even if you're not doing mittens, you're just doing the fingerless gloves, it'll mostly hide that pink there.
Next, you're going to complete 5 double crochets in your thumb hole. Again, we're going to work right over this pink yarn. I ended up having to frog some of my project and redo it, so I'm just going to start here, but I'll show you where you'd want to cut off your pink yarn when working on your project. So again, we're going to do 5 double crochets in your thumb hole. Now for our next round. Actually, for rows 14 through 17, you're going to back post double crochet all the way around. And you can see how nicely that gets hidden. So go ahead and do your back post double crochets all the way around for row 14, 15, 16, and 17. So that's 4 rows of back post double crochet all the way around, and I will meet with you at that point. So I'm still on row 14, and I wanted to show you where you cut off your pink yarn. So you want to do it ideally, you crochet over it all the way around to carry it, and then once you get to your pink heart, that's where you want to cut it off. Leave an end long enough to weave in, because we're going to weave it into the inside of this heart at the very end of our project. But we're just going to stuff that down in the middle, and we are no longer going to crochet over that. So we're just going to continue on, and again, I'm no longer crocheting over it. But I'm going to continue on with the 14th round, and then we're going to go on to 15, 16, and 17. So go ahead and finish that up. Go ahead and finish those up, and then I will meet back with you after round 17 is complete. I have completed my 17th round, and then I started my 18th round. For your final round, you want to back post double crochet all the way around until you have 2 stitches remaining. And this is how you will finish your fingerless gloves. You're going to begin with your second to last stitch. You're going to do a back post half double crochet. So again, this is the 18th round. I did all 17, and then once I got to the 17th, I started the first part of the round off camera. So you're going to just simply yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through all the loops on the hook. For the final remaining stitch, you are going to do a back post single crochet. Going to insert your hook, yarn over, and pull through both loops. For the final stitch, you are going to slip stitch to the back of the post of the first stitch. We're just going to pull up that loop and then pull it through our hook. Now we want to cut off our yarn, and we're going to leave a tail long enough to weave in. So I'm going to cut it extra long. And now what we can do is we can turn this inside out, and we can weave in all of our ends. So I'm going to do that off camera. I have other videos if you want to watch and see how I weave it, but I'm just going to take my pink, weave it into the heart, and I'm going to take all of my gray and then weave it in through here. So that is how you make the right hand. Next up, I will show you how to make the left hand. Just make sure that you start off with a cuff, exactly the same as what you did for the right hand version. And this should fit about a medium to large. If you need to add some extra rows in here, I like to have it end right here. So if it's not quite long enough for you, you can extend that out. If it's a little too long, you can make that shorter. Completely up to you. But we have our first one.
Now that our right glove is done, we want to do our left one. I began with the cuff already created, so if you need to go back and watch the beginning of the video to see how to make it, you're going to make an identical cuff to your first one and flip it inside out. Then you're going to chain 2, and you're going to pick up 33 stitches, 33 double crochet stitches all the way around for a total of 34 stitches because we're counting that first chain 2. So now what we're going to do for the 1 through 3 for the rounds is we're going to back post double crochet. So we're going to do 3 rounds of this, and I'm not going to slip stitch again. We're going to work in the round. So I'm just going to go ahead like that, and then you're going to complete rounds 1 through 3 just with all back post double crochets, and then I will meet you back at the start. Again, you want to make sure that you place your stitch marker just so that you know where your first stitch is when you make your way around. So go ahead and complete those 3 rows, and I'll meet back with you after that. For row 4, you're going to complete 15 back post double crochets, but you are going to switch over to your heart color halfway through the 15th stitch. And then you're going to do the front post double crochet with it. So we've got 2. So for our 15th back post double crochet, we're going to start the stitch, but then for our final yarn over and pull through, we're going to switch over to our second color for the heart. So we're going to pull up that loop, tighten down your gray. Then we're going to do a front post double crochet, chain 1, and do another front post double crochet around that same stitch, switching back to your main color for the final yarn over and pull through. Now we're going to finish out this round by doing 18 back post double crochets in your main color. So complete your round and I'll meet back with you at the end. For round 5, we are going to start with 2 back post double crochets in the same stitch. Now this is when I don't lock in the other yarn because it'll show through a little bit. So again, we're just going to do 1 and then do our second one around that same stitch. Followed by 12 back post double crochets. And now we can start locking in that stitch again. Next, we're going to do a back post double crochet decrease, and we're going to switch over to the color of your heart for the last yarn over of the decrease. So we're going to start our decrease. And then for this last yarn over, when you have 3 loops remaining on your hook, we're going to make sure our pink is tightened down and then stretched out again so it doesn't pull or get stuck. I've been doing that continuously throughout my round, but if you haven't, you may have to pull quite a bit of thread through and then stretch it to make sure that it'll give when you're wearing it. Okay, so now we're going to yarn over with our pink, pull it through. That was just the other thread hanging off from the base. Okay, so now we are going to do a front post double crochet followed by a double crochet in your chain space, chain 1, double crochet in the same chain space, followed by a front post double crochet, switching over to your main color for the last yarn over and pull through. Now we're going to finish out, we're going to do a back post double crochet decrease. This kind of frames out the heart in case you're wondering why we do an increase at the beginning and then a decrease here. So we're going to do, that was our decrease. Next, we're going to do back post double crochets over the next 15 stitches, and then we'll do 2 back post double crochets in the final stitch of the round. So I will meet back with you at that point. Continue on. Just make sure that you do 2 back post double crochets in that final stitch. I have finished with the 2 back post double crochets in the same stitch without locking in that stitch for those increases. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to do our 15 back post double crochets, and now we can lock in that color, and we're going to be switching over to our heart color halfway through, or for the final yarn over and pull through of the 15th stitch. Next, we're going to do 2 front post double crochets, followed by a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the chain space. Complete 2 more front post double crochets with the pink, switching over to your main color at the end of the second front post double crochet. Complete the round with 18 back post double crochets, and I will meet back with you at the beginning of the next round. For row 7, you're going to start with an increase again, so you're going to do 2 back post double crochets without stitching over your yarn in the same stitch. There's 1, 2, and then you're going to do 12 back post double crochets, after your 12 back post double crochets, you're going to do a back post double crochet decrease, switching over to the color of your heart for the last yarn over and pull through. Next, you're going to do 3 front post double crochets, followed by a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in your chain space, and then 3 front post double crochets, switching over to your main color for the final yarn over pull through of your heart color. Do a back post double crochet decrease, and then you're going to do back post double crochets all the way until the last stitch. So that would be for the next 15 stitches, you're going to do back post double crochets, and you're going to do 2 back post double crochets in that final stitch. I'll meet back with you at the end of the round. For the start of the 8th round, we're going to do 15 back post double crochets, switching over to the heart color at the end of the 15th stitch. Now for this row, or this round, we are going to do 2 front post double crochets in that first stitch of the heart. Next, you're going to do 3 front post double crochets. Then you're going to do 3 double crochets into this chain space. Do 3 front post double crochets. Followed by 2 front post double crochets around the next stitch, switching over to your main color for the final yarn over and pull through. Now you want to make sure that your gray is not pulling too tightly. So this is where you're going to kind of loosen it. Make sure you have that flexibility there. We're going to finish the row with 18 back post double crochets, and I will meet up with you for the next round. For round 9, you're going to do 2 back post double crochets into this first stitch, followed by 14 back post double crochets, switching to the heart color for the last yarn over and pull through of the 14th back post double crochet. Next, you're going to do 13 front post double crochets, and you're going to switch over to your main color for the final yarn over and pull through. What I like to do for this is I like to complete 6 of the front post double crochets, And then for that middle stitch, I like to simply lock in this yarn by going like this. All I do is cross them over, just as I did for the last glove. I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook, complete the stitch, and then simply cross it back over. And now my yarn is in the right order, and I have locked in that stitch. So that's all we're doing, is crossing it over, and it will not show once we are done. So finish up those 13 front post double crochets. And again, that's optional. It just makes it so that when you slide your hand in your glove, you're not going to be hitting that yarn or the thread. It can be tough to work into those increase stitches. Just make sure you work them separately. Okay, once I switch, I like to make sure that the yarn is loose enough back here, but you can see that it did lock in that stitch. That's my favorite method for doing it when we don't have the double crochets thrown in. Okay, for the remainder of our round, we are going to do 17 back post double crochets, and we're going to do 2 back post double crochets into the final stitch of the round. So I will meet back with you at the end. For round 10, we're going to start with 16 back post double crochets. During your 16th stitch, make sure to switch over to the color of your heart for the last yarn over and pull through. Next, we are going to do 13 front post double crochet stitches, switching back to our main color for the final yarn over and pull through of our 13th front post double crochet. Again, you can lock in that stitch during the 7th, at the start of the 7th stitch. So I do my 6, I simply go like this and cross it over so that you can see that they're crossed over. I pick it up in the middle, I yarn over, I do my front post double crochet, and then I cross it back. Complete the round by doing 19 back post double crochets. For round 11, you're going to do 2 back post double crochets in that first stitch. Followed by 15 back post double crochets, switching over to the heart color for that 15th stitch halfway through. We're going to start off the heart by doing a front post double crochet decrease, and then 2 front post double crochets, now we're going to do another front post double crochet decrease, switching to the main color of our yarn for that final yarn over and pull through. Then we're going to do a back post double crochet, but it's going to be some color changing going on. So you yarn over with your main color, insert your hook to do your back post double crochet. We're going to yarn over with our heart color, pull up a loop, yarn over with your main color and pull through 2 loops on your hook. Now you can tighten down your hook, or down your pink. Now we have to switch right back to our pink color. So you're going to finish the final yarn over and pull through with your heart color. I know that gets confusing, but it'll look the neatest because we have that smooth color change now. Okay, so next what we want to do is we want to do a front post double crochet decrease, followed by 2 front post double crochets, and then we're going to do a front post double crochet decrease, switching over to our main color for the final yarn over and pull through. And that's what we should have so far. Next, we're going to do 18 back post double crochets with our main color, and then we're going to do 2 front post double crochets into the final stitch of the round. I will meet back with you at the start of the next round. Okay, so because we don't lock in our stitch when we do our increases, and we don't lock in that pink, we are going to now start our thumb hole. And in order to do that, we want to make sure that we get this locked into place. So what you're going to do is you're going to lock it in, you're going to twist again, just cross that pink over and leave it like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to complete half of the first stitch and then recross the colors to lock that second color in so it won't show in our thumb hole. So we're going to skip the first 10 stitches and we're going to back post double crochet into the 11th stitch. So we increased right at the start. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this is the stitch we're going to work around. So we're going to go like this and start it. So we just did our first yarn over and pull through. Now we're going to recross that pink so that it's back in its place. And then we're simply going to yarn over with our gray and pull it through. Now when we come back and we crochet over this, you're not going to see that. It's just tricky because we're starting off our round with skipping our stitches. So now this will become our first stitch of the round. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do 6 back post double crochets. So you're just going to go right into that 12th stitch, which is now our second stitch of the round. And that'll help tighten it up a little bit. Now, I know where my first stitch is here, obviously, but I'm still going to use my stitch marker just to keep it consistent. And again, with our 6th stitch, at the end of it, we're going to switch over for the last yarn over and pull through with our pink. Now we're going to do 2 front post double crochet decreases, switching to our main color for the final yarn over and pull through. Next, we want to do a back post double crochet, chain 1, back post double crochet around the next stitch. And then before we complete that second back post double crochet around that same stitch, we want to switch back to our heart color for the final yarn over and pull through. Next, we're going to do 2 front post double crochet decreases, and then we're going to switch over to the main color again for that final yarn over pull through. Next, you're going to complete 20 back post double crochets. Now for your last 2 stitches, because we crossed over, because we didn't lock in those pink stitches, it's going to be a little bit trickier to work this, but this is how you're going to do it so it doesn't show. You're going to do your last 2 back post double crochets by placing your hook between that pink yarn and your stitch. So you're going to go in between them Then you're going to yarn over, and then you can crochet right over as you would. So I'll show you again for the second stitch, but that will help hide it completely. So you're going to yarn over, insert your hook between the pink yarn and the back of your stitch, and then you're going to enter it and come around both the strands of the pink yarn. You're going to pull up your loop and just complete your back post double crochet. So that's really the best way to do that color change. I hope that you were able to see everything that I was able to do there. All right, next up, we're going to do 5 double crochets into the thumb hole. This is starting our new round. So complete your 5 double crochets. Now you're going to do 7 back post double crochets, but you are not going to switch to the heart color at the end of this. So I've completed that 7th back post double crochet. I'm going to tighten everything down just to make sure I stay on top of it. Okay, the next step that we want to do is we are going to do a back post double crochet decrease. We're going to yarn over, we're going to begin it by yarning over with our main color. We're going to insert our hook to do our back post double crochet. We're going to yarn over with the pink color, with whatever color you're using for your heart. Pull up a loop, and then we're going to yarn over with the main color to pull through 2 loops. Tighten down that pink, and then we're going to yarn over again with our main color. We're going to insert our hook behind that stitch. We're going to yarn over with the pink again, pull up a loop, yarn over with the main color and pull through 2, tighten down the pink, yarn over with your main color and pull through all 3 stitches. Okay, so again, now we're going to do our back post double crochet around this next stitch with your main color. We're going to do a double crochet into the chain space, and then we're going to do 1 more back post double crochet without switching to our heart color. So that's what we should have. The next thing we want to do is yarn over with our main color. We're going to do a back post double crochet decrease again. So we're going to insert our hook. We're going to pull up a loop with our heart color, yarn over with your main color and pull through 2 loops, tighten that down, yarn over with your main color, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over with the heart color and pull up a loop, yarn over with your main color to pull through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through all 3, and that will give you the most seamless color change that you can have for these hearts. Now we're going to simply finish the round with 19 back post double crochets, and we're going to do 2 back post double crochets in the last stitch. Now we're up to round 14. So for round 14, 15, 16, and 17, so the next 4 rounds, you're going to do a back post double crochet in every single stitch all the way around. And then you can start round 18 by doing all back post double crochet stitches up until the last 3 stitches. So go ahead and complete those 4 rounds, 14, 15, 16, 17, and then for the 5th round, start to do all back post double crochets, and I'll show you how to finish off the very final stitch. Okay, I have 3 stitches remaining. It's actually supposed to be the last 2 that we work with, so I'm going to do 1 more back post double crochet. And again, this is on round 18. So I did 5 all the way up, and on the 5th one I stopped with a few stitches remaining. Okay, so we're going to now do a back post half double crochet. Oops, all the way through. Here, I'm going to do that one over so you can see that again. So we want to do, for our second to last stitch, we're going to do a back post half double crochet, followed by a back post single crochet. Then you're going to slip stitch to your first stitch to the back post of the first stitch of the round. So yarn over and pull through. Now we're just going to cut a long enough end to weave in. I have a few ends to weave in for this glove, but once we weave that in, they're all set to go, and you have your pair of the Sweetheart fingerless gloves. So this should fit about a size medium to large, I would think. My hands are a little bit smaller, so I might like a little bit of a smaller size. Still have to weave in those ends. But that's what they look like. So you have your set. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them for me down below. Let me know what you think of this project. If you'd like to check out the matching beanie, I will link to that down below as well, or you can find it in your upper right-hand corner of your screen. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all of my current projects. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.